launching was all the excitement I can handle for one day. I don't want to see anyone.
Well, I think in this case, you'll make an exception.
Is it another reporter? I don't think I could face that.
I know you couldn't, so I'm sure it isn't, I promise you. Pinky swear it is not a reporter or any press.
But you insist that I see whoever this is?
Yes, I do insist, because I think you're going to like this one.
Oh, Holly!
Look, I'm grateful for your help in getting back Holly for me. I'm also grateful in the help you've given me in getting back the disc.
That wasn't too easy to say, was it, pal?
Well, in view of the fact that you had the disc all this time and you deliberately kept it from me, it was rather difficult.
Yeah, I know. And because of that, I'm in deep latrine weather, aren't I?
Well, there was a spot of bad judgment at best.
Yeah, well, I realize now it was a terrible mistake. So what's going to happen? I mean, is Grant going to be the only one who's going on trial for stealing the disc, or
That's
what?
out of my hands.
But you're usually pretty good at, you know, guessing what's coming up. What do you think?
Again, that's out of my hands. Look, Connie and Ballantyne are coming over here from the expo with Grant. After that, we'll see what we'll see.
Well, what are we going to know when they get here?
Again, we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm telling you what happened. If Grant hadn't have dropped those clues, if he hadn't have changed the real bullets to blanks, then Luke and I would have been shot and killed.
The only thing is, though, Holly, that you're forgetting that if Grant hadn't been a spy, you wouldn't have been in danger in the first place.
Nor would any lives have been lost.
Would you just please understand what I'm telling you? I'm not condemning Grant, and I'm not defending him either. I'm just explaining to you why Luke and I are alive right now.
But you cannot forget that he is a spy.
That's not the point.
I think it's the whole point.
The point is that Luke and I are safe, and we have Grant Putnam to thank.
Could I say something, please? Holly has just told us the whole story. I really don't think we're at all qualified to argue the finer details.
Thank you, Monica.
I also think that, Holly and Celia have a great many things to talk about. I think we should leave them alone.
Thank you. That's very sensitive of you, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, my dear, at least you're here and you're alive. And that's a blessing. Now, I think I'd like to go back to my room.
You need any help, Mother?
Thank you, dear, but if you don't mind, I'd like to lean on Edward. May I, dear?
Any time, my dear.
I suppose I'm a creature of habit. I've leaned on you for a great many years, Edward, and, well, I still like it.
Well, frankly, so do I.
Now, if those reporters would just stay away from our door.
I will take care of that, Mother, right now. Excuse me.
Thank you, dear. And if they...
Celia, maybe you and Holly would like to go talk in the den.
Yes, please, yes.
There is one more thing that I would like to say, though. I'm just sorry I didn't get a chance to thank Grant for what he did.
Did you have to drag him through those parasites of reporters with handcuffs on, Naz?
Well, as of now, this man is a prisoner.
Oh, I know, but give him a little dignity, will you?
Look, it's all right. I understand.
Well, I sure as hell don't.
Look, since this is my office and my jurisdiction, the cuffs can be removed.
Robert, I think you'd better...
Please, let's do it now.
Here we go. Grant. Thank you.
You realize that everything you say here is on the record.
Yes, I do.
For what it's worth, I'm rather ambivalent about where to start here, or what to say, but I'm fully aware that you saved my wife's life.
And mine.
And I'm grateful. But however, there There are still serious criminal charges to be considered here, and I can't ignore that.
Look, let's get one thing settled here. Grant, are you going to defect?
I don't want to leave this country. I'll do whatever I have to in order to stay here.
Including a full confession?
Yes.
Well, that's going to take him off the hook then, isn't it?
Hardly. Just because a man chooses to defect, seek political asylum, doesn't mean to say he's absolved of all the crimes that he's committed. You can defect, but you may still face serious espionage charges.
Yes, those are serious charges. If you're tried and convicted, you could very well face a life sentence.
Are you going to go for that?
It's not up to me. In a case of such magnitude, this involves the office of the U.S. Attorney and the State Department. In short, this case is too far-reaching, too important for any one branch of the government to carry the ball all alone.
Well, pending all of that, what do you suggest we do now?
Well, the sooner we get him debriefed, the better off we're going to be. Now, I've read his rights to him. Let's see if we can get a full statement into the record.
Well, I'm obliged to protect those rights.
Are you prepared to make a full statement?
Yes, I already said that I was.
Well, you retain the right of counsel. Do you want a lawyer?
No. No, that's not necessary. I'll give you my confession right now.
Let's do it. Have a seat. I'll get a stenographer up here, which will be backed up by a tape recorder. Connie.
Yeah.
Take Luke into the next room and have him make a statement. Also, have that recorded. Do you agree to that of your own volition?
I do.
Good. Luke.
Yeah.
Before you go.
What?
When all the dust is settled around here, I'd like to have a little talk to you. Would you agree to that?
Sure. Sometime tomorrow?
Yeah. Fine.
Shall we go?
One more thing. Please remember that, without this man right here, we wouldn't have recovered the disc, and 2 people that I have grown very fond of would have been dead. Your wife and me.
I was taken from my home when I was very young.
Taken from where and put where?
I was put into what my country refers to as the American village. It's an exact duplicate of a typical American town. There we speak only English, Americanized English. We watch American television, we listen to American radio, read only American newspapers and magazines.
In other words, you were turned into Americans.
Totally. My whole life was centered on just one objective. Becoming a mole in America.
Are you actually a doctor?
Yes. Yes, it was decided that I would be sent to medical school in London. And for this, I assumed a new identity, an American identity. It was also decided that this medical degree would serve as an excellent cover for me here in America. I arrived in London as Grant Putnam. I came to America as Grant Putnam, M.D.
And your specialty was orthopedics, huh?
Yes. Yes, and I liked it. I wanted very much to be a doctor. And I was a good one. I also specialized in scientific secrets.
All for the motherland.
My entire existence was devoted to serving the motherland.
Okay, let's backtrack here a little bit. Before you got to London, how did you assume this Putnam role?
The party found this Putnam person for me to replace. I was briefed over and over until I literally became Grant Putnam. I studied him so thoroughly and delved so deeply into his background that I could pass for him under the closest scrutiny. Then, of course, the final step was the plastic surgery.
To make you resemble the real Grant Putnam?
No. No, not to resemble. I was made over completely. I was made to look exactly like Grant Putnam.
That must have been a long process.
Yes. Yes, it was. Yet I remember every moment of it. Especially when the final surgery was completed.
Grant protected you, Celia.
But that didn't stop the attempts on my life. Holly, I lived in fear for so long. I can't forget about that.
And no one would expect you to. But you know, in some ways I can understand Grant.
In what ways?
I know what it's like to be working on the wrong side, hating it and not knowing how to get out of it. And deep down, I just can't believe that Grant would kill anyone.
You know, there is just one thing about all this that is worse than all the rest put together.
What's that?
Knowing that my marriage was a lie. I mean, the man I loved wasn't the man I thought he was at all. You know how that makes me feel?
I can imagine.
I loved him. He was a vital part of my life. And now I find out he's not even Grant Putnam. He's a stranger. I don't even know his name. I don't even know his real name, Holly.
Did you marry Celia as part of your cover?
Yes. Initially, my marriage was just another part of becoming Grant Putnam. But as time passed, I found myself loving her more than life itself. I still do.
And what about the American way of life?
I believe in it with all my heart.
Even if it conflicted with that of the mother country?
This may be very hard for you to understand. But I think of this as my mother country now. The United States of America, no other.
You have no allegiance to any other country?
None.
If you felt that strongly, why didn't you give up being the mole?
Because I felt like I was on a roller coaster and I didn't know how to get off.
Could you be a little more specific about that?
I knew that if I tried to pull out before the mission was completed, that they'd hurt Celia. In fact, I was sure that they'd kill her, and I couldn't risk that. You surely must understand that I couldn't have killed Dr. Gerald. That's why they did it for me. There was no stopping the machine once it was in motion.
What do you know about the real Grant Putnam?
Nothing. Not a thing. I never met him. I never even saw him. I simply assumed his face, his history, and his life.
Would you rather we went
No, come in. We're about to wind down here. Grant's getting rather tired.
Yes, I am.
Robert, could I speak with you and Connie privately? I'll have plenty more questions for you later on.
What do you suggest we do with him now?
Well, very soon, representatives of the U.S. Attorney and the State Department will be arriving here. They're going to have a lot more questions for you. However, if you are willing to name names and to cooperate completely in the breaking up of the DVX spy rings here in the United States, then I'd be willing to plead for political asylum for you.
State go along with that?
Yes, with my urging, I think they might.
You can tell the State Department. I am willing to talk to them.
Well, that just might be of some help to you. Connie, Robert, shall we?
Yeah. Would it be all right if I talk to Grant for just a second?
Well, I've got no objection. Besides, there's a guard outside the door. You realize, of course, that Grant is now a prisoner here.
I know that. Okay. Thank you.
Have you read Luke's statement?
Enough, yes. Oh, thank the stenotypist for the quick work she did, would you?
I will. But if you'd like my opinion first, I feel that now that you have heard Grant's and now read Luke's statement to Connie, I don't feel that Luke should be prosecuted.
I agree. Ultimately, what Luke did helped us keep the disc as opposed to lose it.
And undoubtedly, he saved two very important lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that may be true, but I still think Luke could face some heavy charges.
I see. You favor indictment and prosecution?
Well, I lean in that direction.
You realize, of course, that if there were a trial, it would become public knowledge that the World Security Bureau lost the disc and then engaged in a cover-up of that loss that could have endangered thousands of lives.
That's a matter of national security, Robert. It should never come up in any trial, ever.
Maybe, but I'd make sure that it would.
And I'd give the same testimony.
I see. You realize that if Luke is let off on a reprimand, that would require the consent of the U.S. attorney.
Get the consent?
You feel that strongly?
I do.
Very well. I'll get the consent. Luke will not be prosecuted.
Scorpio.
Robert?
Where are you?
I'm at the Quartermains. Will you be able to pick me up on your way home?
Yes.
Apparently from your answers, you're not alone.
That's correct, yeah.
Will you be able to get away soon?
Well, I don't think that this should wait a minute longer. Do you?
Oh, no. Not 1 minute.
On my way.
Hold on. We're not finished yet, Bob.
Well, you'll have to carry on without me. You see, I have some far more important business that has to be taken care of.
Can it wait?
Not a minute longer. All right, guys. Give me a statement later on. Please, come on further.
Hi, this is Winfield. We talked to Celia.
You can't talk to her and get away from the door, will you, please?
Like an hour.
Wait a minute, Robert. Excuse us, please. Later, I promise, all right?
Well, what is do?
Wait a second. Where's Holly?
Oh, she is waiting for you in there.
Holly?
Robert?
Hi. Well, got here as quick as I could.
I know. We'll talk again tomorrow.
You, want to leave now?
Yes, I'm ready.
Come on.
Strange. They really seem formal with each other.
You know, for a pretty good doctor, you have a lot to learn about people.
What do you mean? What kind of people?
Oh, people in love.
Can I, get you anything?
No, thanks, I'm fine.
Or maybe a drink? Something to eat? I mean, let's face it, you...
No, really, not that. Thank you. Maybe later.
I died, the thought of you gone.
You were all that got me through it.
You know, I used to come back here. I'd sit and think about you. About how you were. Where you were. Whether they'd hurt you. Whether you were still alive. I used to think about you being with Luke. The two of you, together. Danger, just like the old times.
Luke and I did a lot of thinking, too.
You know, it used to drive me up the wall. Because I could think of the inevitability of it. Fate was pulling the two of you together. Taking you away from me. No, please. Please, let me finish this. It's very important to me. I came to a moment of truth here. That was that you were the only thing that mattered. Your life and your safety. And I also realized that no matter how painful it was going to be, provided you could come out of this alive and in one piece, then I'd give you up.
That makes me want to cry.
I'm sorry. I had to tell you that.
Luke and I talked about our relationship.
I don't think I want to hear this.
I said we talked about it, not the way you thought. Just the opposite.
Opposite?
You had your revelations, while Luke and I had ours too. When we faced up to the fact that this could be the end of it. This could be the end for both of us. We also faced up to a lot of truth about each other. Luke realized that it was his lack of trust, because he was hurt, but it was his lack of trust that made me run away from him.
What other conclusions did you come to?
Well, Luke finally realized that it was your trust in me that made me love you.
I've always trusted you. That's part of what love is.
I know. Luke's hold on me was always there. It was just below the surface. But somehow bringing it into the open got rid of it completely.
Was that the moment of truth?
There was more. The real moment. When I thought that I was going to die, I knew that you were all that I wanted. Always. And that's what I feel right now. And forever.
So close to you right now. It's almost painful.
It's because it's been such a long time.
My beautiful Lily. My wife. My lover. I guess this is what marriage is supposed to be all about.
Robert. I love you so much.